You're listening to the Burning Presales podcast. I have the pleasure of speaking with Adam Freeman today. Adam is the head of Presales and Enablement at the Access Group, a co-founder and host of the podcast Two Presales in a Pod, and is otherwise a thought leader and digital sales innovator. Adam, thanks so much for joining me for this conversation. The first question I have, I think you're uniquely qualified to answer. How do you create a balanced suite of pre-sales KPIs?
That is the holy grail for any pre-sales or sales leader, pretty much. And especially when you're trying to assess not only the current impact of pre-sales, but the future or likelihood of future impact of pre-sales, which is the most important thing. How are we not only set up for today to support our buyers and their journey, but tomorrow and for our future demand, right? So the main thing with KPIs, they need to be so balanced that they give you that reflection on your historical performance, but a window into the future to say, well, do I need to add headcount? We all know that's a problem. Any pre-sales leader or anyone in pre-sales knows it's a problem right now. So how can I get more out of my existing team without burnout? Okay, that's important. How close are my team to burnout? How much capacity have I got left? What amount of gains have I got there to go? And then at what point do I need to add more heads? So there's this kind of perpetual battle of adding more productivity to an existing team and making them slicker and better, balancing that with what the customer wants, but also with an eye to the future and the talent pool issues that we've got. So a suite of KPIs is fundamentally important to making that decision, because if the KPIs aren't right, you're going to make the wrong decision. You're going to go and pay an exorbitant amount of money for talent, for good talent, and rightly so, and maybe add it at the wrong times. But the other thing is, great talent wants to be measured effectively, because they'll typically want to know, where am I great and where can I improve?
Right.
So as a leader, the KPIs have to allow you to do that appraisal of the teams as well and the top talent. So I would always split my KPIs into two camps. Okay, it's really, really important to do that. The first is obvious. It's financial KPIs. It's where pretty much most leaders are happy. It's based on, revenue that we've been linked to. It's based on win ratios. It's based on anything that really has a financial outcome. And that's so easy to capture with a modern CRM. Are my pre-sales involved? What's my win ratios? Nice and easy. The problem with a financial KPI, it's backward facing. Okay, it's got to have happened to get the KPI. So, if I've had a good year, I'm going to have a good win ratio. The problem with that is it doesn't guarantee that that's going to continue next year. In a market where products are always getting better, it's more commoditized than ever, where buyers are more educated than ever, right? How do I know my competition aren't going to embrace a tool like a consensus, like something else, get ahead of the game, and my win ratios start to suffer because I've not done that? So the financial KPIs are important, but they're not everything. Okay. And that's coming from an accountant, right? I'm an accountant in prior life, and I'm about to tell you here that numbers aren't everything. What is really important is to have something called non-financial performance indicators. So they are things, softer things, they're very hard to capture, but they're things like customer satisfaction, their feelings, their emotions. It could be perception of the market. It could be, hours spent doing something. It's more intangible than a financial outcome. Okay, it's typically an activity where something happens, but the outcome is not financially dependent. What they're very good at doing is giving you a window into future economic performance. So, prime example, if I've got a very high performing pre-sales person, massive win ratios, great revenue generation, fantastic, they're in good money, does that mean they're going to perform like that next year? Some people would say, yeah, of course they are. They're a top performer. I would say, I don't know. It's going to go one of three ways. They're going to stay still. They're going to elevate their game, because I'll commensurate them to do that or whatever else. Or they're going to go on decline because they believe the hype around themselves. They haven't developed. And now suddenly their skill sets become more obsolete than it should be. So actually they go on the decline, right? As with a product, people are just the same. We have life cycles. So one of the things that a non-financial performance indicator will do is say, well, hey, your financial performance is great, your win ratio is great, your average deal size is great, your outputs are amazing, but your customer satisfaction, your buyer experience is poor. They're rating you not great. That tells me that maybe we've got lucky, or maybe a tactic work. Maybe that's going to catch us out at some point in the future. So a great suite of KPIs is balance, that balance between, have I got the financial outputs for today to keep people happy with right now, with the stakeholders I've got, they're interested, but also, have I got these non-financial indicators for me as a leader to know that I'm going to give some kind of certainty tomorrow and the year after to my leadership team that this is in safe hands, we know where we need to improve. That's the ultimate suite of KPIs for me.
That's interesting. Now, how about overlap with sales? Since they're so often partnered with the sales team, what does that overlap look like generally?
Massive. So I have again strong feelings that sales own some great KPIs, right? Revenue, sales own that.
Right.
They're amazing. A great sales engine is something fantastic. I'm lucky, right? At Access, we have a phenomenal CSO. We have a phenomenal sales engine. Okay, and I mean that not just in terms of that they do a good number, they do it in a good way. You know, it's hard to sell in a good way. It's hard to give the buyer a great experience. You know, whilst also being successful. We all know companies who struggled with that. I don't overly target my pre-sales teams just on revenue. I don't think that that's necessarily because I'm double counting that metric. If I've got a sales team that are living and dying by that number, why do I need to give that ownership of that number also to the pre-sales team? I need to find a complementary KPI that shows the influence we have and aligns to that goal congruence of the CSO, right? So if I can create KPIs that give my CSO a little bit more context to his sales performance or give him a different viewpoint, again, that's just enriching your credibility and your value you offer to the C-suite. You know, we see articles about that. I've just been lucky enough to do an article on that myself, right? How do we add value to the C-suite? Give a different perspective, give a KPI, give a number that you're owning that nobody else in that business can.
Oh, that's interesting. I want to dial into the non-financial KPIs. Speaking of balance, I know what people are going to ask me after I post this. They're going to be asking for more details. They can probably go to you for that directly, but you mind exposing a little bit about what you're doing at the Access Group in terms of non-financial KPIs?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple. I mean, you've got to bear in mind, my win ratios are north of 50% right now, right? So like something's working in what we're doing, okay? But again, I've just told you their win ratio, right? I've just led with what that is. It's okay to have these traditional metrics. I'm not saying we don't have those, right? What I'm saying is we supplement that with more. So I get my guys at the end of a demo, they all have a QR code, right? And the user takes that. We're living in a virtual world. They take out their phone, they scan the QR code. The feedback comes straight to the pre-sales leadership team. I have a good handle on division, product, subset of deal size, everything else. How is that buyer experienced? And what are we doing where we maybe get amazing feedback to where we don't? Is it persona driven? Is it pre-sales person driven? Or was it just that someone had a bad day? Because I'm also watching for my guys. We forget like mental health pre-sales people is an important thing. People are really burning out right now. It's been a hard 2 years for everybody. I'm looking for someone who's working hard, maybe isn't getting the feedback that they're justified. Are they just a little bit under the weather? I need to tap them on the shoulder. Hey, have a day off, like go relax, go spend some time with the family, come back on Monday, start again. Because I'd rather do that than have someone who's working at 50% of their capabilities because they're just burnt out. That's another example of how a non-financial KPI is attractive for a leader. It balances the team and it offers that human side to what I think leaders should have.
I think people are going to want to see your demo fest session.
I'll reinvigorate it. We did it a couple of years ago, right? And it was pretty well received.
Absolutely.